Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Tales of Herding God Part 232 based on novel. So let's start. Who are you? Qin Mu cried out in astonishment. A voice came from his mouth and it sounded loud and clear. However, it had a hint of innocence and evil. I am. Above his head, the huge hand of that Buddha had already pressed down, and Qin Mu suddenly felt another him awakening in his body. This feeling was too strange. It was as though he was splitting into two. Qin Feng Qing. While this voice was speaking, Qin Mu's original consciousness had shifted back to number 2, he became an observer. What was even more terrifying was when the other him had appeared. A wave of power suddenly filled his entire body. This wave of power appeared out of nowhere, and he had no idea where it came from. It was boundless. It was so terrifying and so evil that Qin Mu's original cultivation could only stay in one corner within his consciousness, and just look at this evil power filling up his entire body. The seized primordial spirits are still few. It's not enough to break Earth Count's seal. Earth Count, this big baddie. However, after I kill this Buddha, I'll be able to break more seals. Qin Mu heard an unfamiliar, arrogant voice of a baby. This voice was filled with malice and evilness, an evilness that made people shudder without feeling cold. Youdu language came out of his mouth, and it had a strange magic power that was flamboyant and fearless. It also had boundless greed, as if it was a combination of all negative emotions. Where I am, it's Youdu. Qin Mu saw darkness spreading out from his body, tainting the supreme Brahma heaven of the Buddha realm. Brahma heaven, the one that had a golden sea and was forever in daylight, suddenly had an area turning dark. The golden sea was like a basin of water that had an ink dropped into it. The invasion of the darkness had caused the golden sea to be tainted, turning it black. The area shrouded by darkness grew wider and wider. The supreme sacred ground of the Buddha realm was slowly transforming into Youdu. The hand of that Buddha had already landed and it shone with Buddha rays. After that, it was swallowed up by the darkness. The Buddha cried out in astonishment, pulling his palm back from the darkness. The chubby hand of the Buddha had transformed into white bones. The flesh on it had completely vanished. It was a kind of divine art that was completely different from eternal peace, supreme emperor heaven, Buddha realm, and even the celestial heavens. He controlled the power of death and seized all lives for himself. Qin Mu jumped up and laughed. With the fingers on his palm all stretched out, he pressed down on the head of the Buddha. Boom! Violent rumbles traveled out as the Buddha was pressed down on a golden island by brute force. That island suddenly exploded and shattered into pieces. Qin Mu also saw a strange transformation happening to his body. His body was growing furiously, becoming taller and taller. However, his age seemed to be slowly regressing as he became younger and younger. He was becoming more and more like a toddler. Luckily, the clothes that Heavenly Feather Chief Yu Zhaoqing had made was extraordinary. It was made with the best materials from Heavenly Feather race, so it was also quite a remarkable spirit weapon, which could transform according to the size of his body. At this moment, he was already over 30 yards tall. However, his age had already regressed to the appearance of a 4 to 5-year-old. He looked like an adorable little boy. Although this boy looked adorable, he had boundless strength. Furthermore, he was also extremely evil, nearly smashing the head of that Buddha. Not only that, this little boy lifted that Buddha up with a single hand, raising him in the air. He opened his mouth and sucked in forcefully. Buddha rays flowed around the body of the Buddha as he tried his best to resist. However, his primordial spirit appeared unwillingly. It got separated from his body from time to time. The Buddha struggled non-stop, and all his divine treasures appeared. His primordial spirit was located in front of the celestial palaces. He couldn't keep a stable footing and almost got sucked out of the celestial palaces a few times. Qin Mu discovered that his age was still regressing. He was 4 to 5 years old a few moments ago, and now he wasn't even 3 years old. At this moment, Dharma King Mo Lun arrived and planted a mudra right on the back of Qin Mu's heart. Qin Mu brought that Buddha to tumble a few rounds. He floated around the Golden Sea and crumbled several mountains before stopping. Meanwhile, that Buddha had its primordial spirit sucked out with one mouth. The primordial spirit of this Buddha didn't land into Qin Mu's mouth. Instead, the primordial spirit warped and entered his third eye. Qin Mu was shocked as he suddenly came to a realization. He finally understood now why Hall of King Qin had crumbled after King Yama of Fengdu had suppressed his seal, and why King Yama was stuck in that pillar. He also finally understood why such a strong existence like Fu Riluo would have his chest broken, and got stuck unconscious in an altar after being in contact with the jade pendant. He also finally understood why Without Embroiling City had suffered from that calamity, and why Earth Count had to see him and redo the seal in the jade pendant. In the past, he only thought there was a curse in that jade pendant, and he didn't put much thought on himself. During the few changes, he was usually in deep sleep and didn't know what had happened. All in all, he finally understood. The true curse was himself, or to be clear, it was another him in his body. The reason why he was asleep the previous times was because the other him was too strong as he took over his corporeal body. The reason why he was sober now was because the seal of Earth Count was too powerful. The other him couldn't break free of the seal completely, which resulted in two consciousness sharing the same body at the same time. There was still time for him to think. Dharma King Mo Lun and the other 3 Buddhas came rushing over while stepping on the Golden Sea. The 4 Buddhas executed all their moves to attack him, and their divine arts overflowed to the sky. The power was in a spectacular mess, as the apparitions reached straight to the clouds. Suddenly, Qin Mu's consciousness took over his body. He wasted no time, as he sprinted away quickly. He executed heaven-pilfering divine legs that Cripple had taught him, and he avoided the attacks of Dharma King Mo Lun and the rest. Cripple's heaven-pilfering divine legs actually became abnormally fast under his feet. He could literally pass through space. If Cripple were to see this, he would definitely open his eyes and mouth wide in shock, not daring to believe his leg skills could reach that extent. Yet, at this moment, Qin Mu had boundless magic power. He could execute heaven-pilfering divine legs to the extreme. He literally passed through thousands of flowers and bushes, yet none was stuck on him. No one could touch him at all, not even Dharma King Mo Lun's divine art. Why can I suddenly control my body again? Qin Mu suddenly had this thought. A moment later, Qin Fengqing's consciousness came back. His innocent yet evil voice was heard saying, "Earth Count, you have sabotaged me again." Qin Mu's consciousness moved back to the second place. His body had already transformed completely into a huge baby. He jumped around in excitement, and caused the Golden Sea to explode continuously from his steps. The waves of Buddha light splashed up into the sky. Wherever he passed, the Golden Sea became tainted. At the start, it could still be considered as having one drop of ink landing into the sea. Now, the ink was dripping everywhere. He grabbed one of the Buddhas and was about to tear him apart, as though he was just a rag doll, and he was a mischievous baby that wanted to tear his toys apart. Dharma King Mo Lun and the remaining 2 Buddhas chased after him. Qin Fengqing didn't seem to have learned a lot of divine arts. All of the divine arts he had executed were simple. However, Youdu divine arts were strange and unpredictable, making it hard for them to defend against the attacks. What was even more terrifying was that the strength of his corporeal body was simply incomparable. He tore apart that Buddha in his hands with brute force, spraying his blood into the golden sea. The primordial spirit of that Buddha was also swallowed by the eye in Qin Mu's brows. With a swirl, it entered the eye and vanished. The butterfly-shaped marking coming out from Qin Mu's third eye was becoming larger and larger. The more area it covered, the more powerful his abilities would become. Turning around, he fought face-to-face with Dharma King Mo Lun and the rest. Meanwhile, in front of the dilapidated monastery, monk Mingxin flew into midair. He looked at the battle on the golden sea from afar, and couldn't help feeling astonished when he saw the golden bun-shaped islands crumbling one by one. The sacred mountains were decimated and the darkness was tainting this supreme sacred ground continuously. Monk Mingxin's face turned pale. His body was trembling as his mind went blank. "Monk, come down." He suddenly heard a voice coming from below, and he hurriedly looked down. He saw that honest-looking monk standing in front of the monastery, waving at him. He had been called many times, but he was in shock and didn't hear him. That monk said with a smile, "Come down quickly. The great devil king is going to slaughter his way here soon. Let's hide in the monastery." Monk Mingxin hurriedly said, "Senior brother Qin won't kill me. Do you really think that he is your senior brother Qin?" Monk Mingxin looked towards the golden sea, which had almost become a sea of ink. The huge baby that Qin Mu transformed into was currently grabbing a Buddha and pummeling him, turning that Buddha into a bloody pulp. Suddenly, he heard an earth-shattering bang as Dharma King Mo Lun's huge body flew backward and out of the golden sea. He tumbled and crashed into this island, crushing forests as he came smashing over. Meanwhile, the baby that Qin Mu had transformed into was eating the primordial spirit of another Buddha. As he ate, he skipped and hurried towards their direction. Monk Mingxin couldn't help giving a shudder. He flew down at once. The honest-looking monk opened up the monastery's door and called him in. Monk Mingxin hurriedly walked over, and he suddenly remembered something. If Brahma Buddha allowed 3 people to go in and learn the Emperor's Throne true scripture, wouldn't all 3 places be filled since senior brother Zhongkong and Sakra Buddha have already come in? Just as he was thinking about this, the huge baby that Qin Mu had transformed into lifted Dharma King Mo Lun up by his leg and smashed him here and there. He split the mountains and cracked the ground, causing Dharma King Mo Lun to hang on to his last breath. That monk quickly shut the door and cut off Monk Mingxin's gaze. He pushed Monk Mingxin into the courtyard as he said with a smile, "Senior brother, you are lucky. If you walk in, you will meet Brahma Buddha and receive the Emperor's Throne true scripture. Go, go." Monk Mingxin was in a daze as he stumbled forward. This monastery didn't look huge, but after walking a long distance, there was still no end. Dharma King Mo Lun's miserable scream was heard from outside. Monk Mingxin's hair stood on end after hearing it. Crap! Senior brother Qin is in danger. He killed so many sons of Buddhas and now he has killed 5 Buddhas, including Dharma King Mo Lun. How could Brahma Buddha tolerate him? He turned around and sprinted out of the monastery while thinking to himself, "I can't let Brahma Buddha kill senior brother Qin." Suddenly, he heard the voice of a Buddha saying, "Excellent, excellent. Turn back and the shore is at hand." Monk Mingxin was stunned. He saw a majestic Buddha in front of him, and he was all kinds of sacred. He smiled at him. "Mingxin, if you always walk forward and not turn back, you will never see me. Now that you have turned back, you can reach my path." That majestic Buddha added with a smile, "Come up. I shall impart you the Emperor's Throne true scripture." Monk Mingxin walked forward despite feeling worried for Qin Mu. He was about to plead to this great Buddha to forgive Qin Mu's life, when that great Buddha said with a smile, "Your newborn heart is different from Zhongkong. Zhongkong's 4 elements are vanity, and he has a natural root of wisdom. Your nature is inferior to him, but you have something he doesn't. Therefore, what I imparted to him is wordless true scripture, while I'm going to impart to you the heavenly book of words. A scripture appeared in the hands of the great Buddha, and he gave it to him. Even though monk Mingxin was holding the emperor's throne true scripture, he was still worried about Qin Mu's safety. He didn't have the heart to read. The great Buddha smiled. Little friend Qin has his own destiny, you don't have to worry for him. Just focus on comprehending this. Hearing those words, monk Mingxin settled his heart down and flipped open the scriptures. He saw the writings on the scriptures, jumping around continuously and reconstructing themselves. It was extremely marvelous, and it described the supreme reasoning of Buddhism. Outside the monastery, after huge baby Qin Fengqing had swallowed Dharma King Mo Lun, he stuck his tongue out to lick his lips. He jumped up and down excitedly, causing the ground to shake continuously. The seal of earth count is loosening again, as long as I eat everyone in this Buddha realm, I can completely break free. I shall turn this Buddha realm into another Youdu, and I can be my own earth count, my own king. I will still have to go to Youdu and fetch mother over so we can live our lives happily, not having to see earth count's face. There's still a monastery here. Let's just destroy it and eat everyone inside, before going to the other Buddha realms to eat them. Boom. The monastery split into pieces, and the huge baby ran, with his unproportionate legs to rush into it. The road ahead was very long. The huge baby stumbled forward. As he walked, he felt that walking on two legs was uncomfortable, so he might as well crawl forward with his hands and legs. Sounds of sweeping were suddenly heard, and a sweeping monk appeared in front of him. The monk hurriedly threw away the broom when he saw him and was about to run. The huge baby was delighted as he grabbed the sweeping monk and said with a smile, "Even though you are a little old, it's better than none." After saying this, he tore off the head of this monk and pulled out his primordial spirit to absorb into his third eye. "If it's me, I won't eat him anyway." Within the huge baby's body, Qin Mu's consciousness said resentfully. After swallowing the primordial spirit of the sweeping monk, the huge baby suddenly shouted, "Crap, I'm tricked. Which scoundrel dares to trick me?" Qin Mu suddenly felt his consciousness regaining control of his body. He couldn't help but feel surprised and delighted. His body also gradually shrank back to its normal size. He saw the severed head of the sweeping monk returning back to his head. The sweeping monk stood there with his broom and looked at him with a smile. Qin Mu bowed and greeted, "Wild and boorish man, Qin Mu, pays his respects to Brahma Buddha." Wild and boorish man. The sweeping monk held onto the broom and he said with a smile, "Does cult master Qin think you can push away all responsibility by calling yourself a boorish man? You have killed 367 sons of Buddha, and also the Buddha of Kandra heaven, as well as 5 Buddhas. You have also tainted half of my Brahma heaven, and turned it into half Youdu. How could I let you off so easily?" Qin Mu said honestly, "May Buddha punish me." The sweeping monk looked at him without speaking. After a while, he smiled. "If I say it's completely your fault, that would be unfair for you. Even though you are honest and sincere, you will definitely not accept that in your heart. The people you had just killed are all people sent to the Buddha realm from the celestial heavens. The reason why Sakra Buddha had taken away the golden willow leaf on your forehead is because he wanted to borrow your hands to wipe out the power the celestial heavens had placed in the Buddha realm. Furthermore, by releasing Qin Fengqing, he will also harm your life. You are very clever and you already saw through this point, which was why you dared to start a massacre without fear. You know that you wouldn't be punished even if you did this kind of thing, because Sakra Buddha will definitely protect you." Qin Mu hung his head down. This disciple doesn't dare to push the blame. Sakra Buddha has the heart to use me to get rid of the power of the celestial heavens, but these sons of Buddhas have indeed died under my hands. Also, I'm the one that had tainted the supreme sacred ground of Buddhism. When in front of me, you don't have to hide what you are thinking, there's no need and there's no use. The sweeping monk added, your guess is right. This blame shouldn't be yours to carry. Even though I didn't approve what Sakra Buddha had done, I didn't oppose him either. Lower your head. Qin Mu bent his body down, as the sweeping monk took out a golden willow leaf. He placed it seriously on the heart of his brows and said with a smile, however, I can't carry this blame. If I did, the Buddha realm will cease to exist as the celestial heavens will take the chance to destroy it and take over. Therefore, this blame can only be carried by Sakra Buddha and you. Sakra Buddha is my junior brother, so he can take on the smelliest shit. As for you, you shall carry a small part of the blame which won't crush you. Qin Mu let out a sigh of relief, and touched the golden willow leaf on his forehead. This made him have peace of mind. It wasn't only because of the golden willow leaf, it was also because of Brahma Buddha's words. Don't blame Sakra Buddha, he is also thinking on behalf of Buddhism. He also has his own past and not in his heart. The sweeping monk walked forward while sweeping the floor. He said with a smile, the shit he needs to take on is more than enough to torment him. It's going to be hard for him to wash himself clean. Even though the celestial heavens knew I was the one who had silently agreed, they can't lay their hands on me without any evidence, so they can only go for Sakra Buddha. I won't get rid of these Youdu devil nature that is here in Brahma heaven. This is the evidence of my Buddha realm not getting involved. My Buddha realm is also a victim. Qin Mu followed him and walked past the places he had swept. He praised, my Buddha is wise. The monk sweeping the floor said, the celestial heavens is oversized and rotten. By the time they receive this news and take action, they will take a few days. In these few days, you and Sakra Buddha shall leave the Buddha realm, so that both of you wouldn't be in trouble. It's easy for you to leave the Buddha realm, but Sakra Buddha's cultivation realm is too high. It's very difficult for him to leave. Qin Mu pondered for a moment and he asked, Buddha has no idea how to leave here. I have. The sweeping monk looked amused. However, you can't use my method, I still need to leave some face for the celestial heavens. If I send Sakra Buddha out, this face wouldn't exist anymore. Therefore, you guys can only think of an idea yourself. Don't involve me and the Buddha realm. Qin Mu scratched his head. He suddenly cried out, which also means that we help the Buddha realm clean up the power of the celestial heavens, preventing the Buddha realm from falling into the celestial heavens' control. Then all the shit and blame are placed on me and Sakra Buddha, while the Buddha realm and Buddha will be completely fine. All of you will receive all the benefits while we still have to run for our lives, am I right or not? The sweeping monk raised his head and beamed at him. That's right. Qin Mu was dumbfounded. After a moment, he probed, are those in the older generation also sinister? That's right. The sweeping monk chuckled. However, we call that wise and not sinister. Qin Mu had a black face. What's the difference between wise and sinister? The sweeping monk continued to sweep the floor while beaming. Actually, you and I were already fated to begin with. We have already met many times. Don't worry, I won't let you be at a disadvantage. I won't be imparting an emperor's throne true scripture. However, Qin Fengqing has swallowed one of my primordial spirits, and this primordial spirit has transformed into a great Buddha that's now in your third eye. Qin Mu touched the golden willow leaf on his forehead. He really wanted to take it down and check his reflection, to see if there was a great Buddha sitting in his eye. However, when he thought about how he could become the huge evil baby that was Qin Fengqing, he could only hold himself back. This great Buddha can be sealed together with Earth Count, assisting you to suppress Qin Fengqing, and prevent him from breaking out of the seal to absorb you. Furthermore, this great Buddha contained my emperor's throne true scripture that I can't impart to you directly. You shall comprehend and learn it yourself, and it is up to you how much you can acquire from it. The sweeping monk swept the floor seriously and he said, if you have the abilities, you will be able to comprehend what Zhong Kong can comprehend. If your comprehension is slightly weaker, you can comprehend what Mingxin can comprehend. If you are too obsessed, it's also possible that you might not comprehend anything. I have imparted the true scriptures, and I have already rubbed the shit. As he swept, a courtyard somehow appeared in front of them. Sakra Buddha seemed to be focused on comprehending something. As the sweeping monk walked in, Qin Mu followed closely behind, step by step. The sweeping monk continued to say, since the matter is almost settled, you guys should be leaving. Junior brother, please get up. I want to sweep away the dust your heart has left behind, so my peaceful residence wouldn't be tainted. Sakra Buddha suddenly snapped out from his focus as he looked at the sweeping monk. He then looked at Qin Mu's black face and cried out in astonishment, Senior brother, everything is settled. The sweeping monk said, it's settled. Sakra Buddha probed, the shit has been rubbed. The sweeping monk replied, it's all on your head, and it's staying there no matter how you wash it off. Sakra Buddha let out a sigh. Merely a little shit. I shall just bear with it, as long as the orthodoxy of the Buddha realm is preserved. By the way, senior brother, how big is this pile of shit? How long will it take to finally wash it off? The sweeping monk hesitated for a moment. You didn't say you wanted to wash it off, so it's slightly big. There are also some obstructions, but it can still be washed off. However, he had this one sentence that he kept to himself. When the heavens change, you will be able to wash it off. Junior brother, you should return to your Sakra realm and prepare to escape for your life. Bring benefactor Qin with you too, and let him bring you out of the Buddha realm, the sweeping monk said. Sakra Buddha took a glance at Qin Mu, whose face was still black, and laughed. He is going to send me out. He has such magic power. Senior brother, I think you should be the one to send me out. You have remarkable abilities that far surpassed mine. Since you can roam the boundless worlds in your dreams, you definitely have a way to send me out safely. The sweeping monk didn't say a word. He just continued to sweep the floor. Suddenly, he swept the feet of Sakra Buddha. Sakra Buddha felt the world spinning, and when he came back to his senses, he had already been swept out of the door with Qin Mu. They were now standing in front of the dilapidated monastery. The monastery being dilapidated was caused by Qin Mu smashing it. That monk popped his head out from the back of a half-collapsed wall and said to both of them, Layperson Qin, you don't have to worry about Zhong Kong and Mingxin. Once they finish learning the Emperor's throne true scripture, they will return. Sending them off is much easier than sending both of you off. I am currently repairing the walls, so I won't be seeing both of you off. The rays behind Sakra Buddha's head brightened again, as Buddha rays lighted up the surroundings. He said with a smile, Senior brother said that this pile of shit is big enough and smelly enough. I would like to see how big and smelly it is. Little friend Qin, stop putting on such a black face. I have let you down and dragged you into this mess. Qin Mu acted as if he wanted to remove the golden willow leaf. Sakra Buddha hurriedly bowed in apology as he said, Don't take it off. Even if you beat me up, I can still escape. Let me just apologize to you here. I will definitely repay this favor in the future. Qin Mu put his hands down and he said, I, as Buddha, shall take the blame for you. Such huge blame. I might not be able to wash it off even after a very long time. Sakra Buddha said with a smile, Don't worry, I will return you your innocence. Then again, I'm also carrying my own shit. When senior brother had used my voice to speak at the start, he had rubbed the first pile of shit on me. Let us first leave this place. Even though the celestial heavens is oversized and rotten, they will receive news in a few days, and will come and seize us. Let us go back to Sakra heaven to prepare first. Qin Mu's expression softened and he nodded his head. Sakra Buddha rose into the air with him. He looked around, and saw the corpses of Dharma King Mo Lun and a few Buddhas. Seeing this, he was surprised and delighted. I knew his eye was weird. I never expected its power to be so strong, to even kill a Buddha like Mo Lun. Even though Mo Lun's attainments in Dharma are half-baked, his abilities are extraordinary. This pile of shit isn't small, but I can handle it. It's worth it. He brought Qin Mu to fly across the Golden Sea. Suddenly, his expression turned blank. The Buddha rays behind his head almost extinguished when he saw the Golden Sea. The Buddha light in the supreme sacred ground of the Buddha realm had almost been extinguished by half. There was intense Youdu devil chi everywhere. The sacred mountains and sacred islands had all crumbled. Countless monasteries on the sacred mountains and sacred islands had crumbled as well and sunk into the sea. This was a complete disaster. Sakra Buddha stared with his eyes wide open. The Buddha rays behind his head flickered, as though it could be extinguished anytime. He only came to his senses after some time. He looked at Qin Mu with difficulty and asked, "This pile of shit is also going to be on me? Can we split the responsibility, and share this burden with me?" Qin Mu shook his head. "Buddha, I still have blame that's on me." Sakra Buddha let out a shaky breath. He was slightly dispirited. Just like this, the supreme sacred ground of the Buddha realm had become another Youdu. He reckoned not long later, a lot of spirits would begin to gather here, even Earth Count might come to take a tour. Half of this pure land would most likely have to be given to Earth Count. I need to hold on, I must stand up to this. Senior brother had said that my pile of shit will one day be washed off. He wouldn't lie to me. Sakra Buddha took in a deep breath and averted his gaze from the terrible situation of Brahma heaven. He brought Qin Mu to Sakra heaven and said, "Senior brother had said that you have a method to bring me out of Buddha realm. May I ask what kind of method does little friend Qin have?" Qin Mu was sulky as he said, "I'm here to seek true scriptures. Not only did I not get what I wanted and can't answer to them when I get back, but I still have to carry this blame. How am I supposed to answer to Rulai when I return? I no longer have the face to see him. Just let the celestial heavens catch me and execute me." Sakra Buddha understood clearly and he said with a smile, "I shall teach you by Sakra scriptures. Even though they aren't as good as the Emperor's throne true scriptures, they are luminous sky true scriptures after all. Senior brother's scriptures are too profound and hard to comprehend. On the other hand, my Sakra scriptures are much simpler, bold and powerful. It's easy to master, and you can see the effects very quickly after you learn it. Now, you can tell me about your method to leave the Buddha realm, right?" They came to the temple in Sakra heaven, and this was Sakra Buddha's palace. There were also numerous Buddhist countries in Sakra heaven that worshipped this Buddha. Quite a number of monks were walking inside this temple, and they greeted them when they saw them coming. Sakra Buddha waved his hand to let them fall back, while he stared at Qin Mu with eyes full of vigor, waiting for his reply. He seemed to be one who has chosen to follow a solitary path. He didn't take in any disciples, and the monks that resided here should mostly be those crown princes, or princess from those Buddhist countries, coming forth to learn Dharma. Even though Sakra Buddha had also taught them Dharma, he usually only do so when he was in the mood. However, even though these crown princes and princess weren't his disciples, their cultivation wasn't weak, and they were no inferior to those sons of Buddha Qin Mu had killed. It should be because of Sakra Buddha's attainments being too high, which was why when he taught them according to his mood, they were still extremely profound techniques. Qin Mu pondered for a moment and he said, I can open Gate of Heaven influence and send you into Youdu. With Buddha's abilities, you can probably cross Gate of Heaven influence with your corporeal body and not have your primordial spirit taken away. However, he hesitated for a moment before continuing. I had killed numerous sons of Buddha previously and the other me was unsealed. I feel that the other me could be hiding behind the door and preparing to eat people. Is Buddha able to defeat the other me? Sakra Buddha blinked his eyes and thought of the Brahma realm that had been tainted. He thought over it carefully for a moment and he rubbed his palms together. I understand now. To seal the other you, Earth Count took a chunk of Youdu and trapped him inside. The other you have great magic power, so he changed your divine art to change the place, which Gate of Heaven influence connected to where Earth Count was suppressing him and not Youdu. In that case, the primordial spirits of the divine arts practitioners you killed will be intercepted by him and get eaten. If I pass through Gate of Heaven influence to enter Youdu, I will appear in the place where he is being suppressed and not Youdu. In the depth of Qin Mu's third eye, a piece of land was floating and that was a land that Earth Count took from his horns of 9 bends. If one looked down from above, one could see that the land had the shape of a jade pendant and the path of the unbroken chain of peaks formed a Qin word. A huge baby was trapped in the center of the Qin word, and he couldn't break free. In the sky above, there was also a great Buddha that was faintly discernible, suppressing that land. That huge baby sat on the ground with his short arms and short legs. He could faintly hear Sakra Buddha's words and he couldn't help becoming furious. Baddie, big baddie, I shall tear off your head and eat you. So I see. Qin Mu came to a realization and he cried out, no wonder every time I kill a son of Buddha, I can feel my vital chi cultivation becoming denser. So I was actually borrowing the primordial spirit of another son of Buddha to break the seal. The vital chi that raised my cultivation should be the vital chi that had leaked out from him. When he fought several hundred Buddhas with his sword, he had already felt something was wrong. At that time, his vital chi was always located at its peak. Not only was his vital chi not depleted, it even had a small increase. Come to think of it, there was another consciousness of Qin Fengqing that was hiding in his body and hiding behind the Gate of Heaven influence, waiting for those sons of Buddhas to send their primordial spirits in for him to feast on. At that time, Qin Mu had always opened the gate, while fighting, so the primordial spirit of those sons of Buddhas must have all fallen into the mouth of the other him. Looks like I can't open the Gate of Heaven influence recklessly, otherwise, I can't control myself if I let the other me out. Qin Mu thought to himself. Sakra Buddha said, if I enter Youdu from Gate of Heaven influence, I will definitely appear on the land that's sealed. Earth Count's seal will suppress me and Senior Brother's seal will come suppressing over as well. At that time, I might not be able to defeat you. This method won't do you have any other method? Qin Mu pondered for a moment and he said, I can construct a spirit energy mutual shift bridge to connect with the bridge in Supreme Emperor Heaven, establishing access between the Buddha realm and Supreme Emperor Heaven. In that case, we can reach Supreme Emperor Heaven from the Buddha realm, and also maintain the energy balance of the two worlds. However, to prevent the celestial heavens from tracking their way to Supreme Emperor Heaven, we need to destroy the spirit energy mutual shift bridge in Sakra Heaven when we teleport away. Sakra Buddha's eyes lighted up and he said with a smile, this is simple. I can leave behind a divine art which can explode after we leave Sakra Heaven, destroying spirit energy mutual shift bridge. There's still one more point. Qin Mu calculated and said, as for all the equations, operations of the runes, and structure, I have a spare copy of the blueprints here. However, spirit energy mutual shift bridge is a huge project, and I don't have that much materials on me. I also don't have manpower that could forge treasures. Sakra Buddha said with a smile, you just need to pass me the blueprint, constructing it is not difficult for me. Qin Mu took out papers and brush. I shall make a list of the materials I need first. May Buddha go ahead to prepare them first. He raised his brush and quickly wrote down 10 pages of materials. Sakra Buddha took a look, and even though the types of materials weren't much, the quantity for each of them was huge. I have these materials in Sakra heaven, as I store some of them. However, they aren't enough. I will need to take some from the treasury of those Buddhist countries. Sakra Buddha left in a hurry. Prepare the blueprints. I will inform the countries in Sakra heaven for them to offer us the materials needed. Qin Mu took out the spare copy of the blueprints from his Daotai sack and stacked them together. This was a good habit that he had cultivated over the years, to always like to prepare a set more for everything. The blueprints that he and the Black Tiger God had calculated was too important, therefore Qin Mu had preserved one more copy in his Daotai sack. Other than the blueprints with him, Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor also had copied one set, and that was also a good habit cultivated over the years. Not long later, Sakra Buddha returned, and when he saw the thick piles of blueprints covering the wall, he jumped in shock and cried out, "So much!" This video will end here.